to Wales. Wales through a goal. Slots it beyond Fodringham. And the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box for Doffin. He can hit them. And he does. The Doffin! Has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello everybody, welcome back to New York Talk. We are back after the international break. Normal football will resume tomorrow night on Friday evening, weather permitting. We've got, it's only Ipswich Town, second in the league, high flying, one defeat this season to come up against us and challengers. That should be fun. Mick's with us, first of all. How are you doing, Michael?
All good, mate. Thank you. You?
Yeah, I'm very, very good. And Danny, how you doing, mate? Enjoyed the international break?
I have indeed. Happy to be back, though.
Yes, very happy to be back. Talking about the only thing that matters, and that is Rotherham United. We should mention and shout out, anybody's not seen this, we were in a music video, if you haven't seen this. Lee McMahon, the wonderful Lee McMahon, obviously released Main Street, which is out on YouTube. If you haven't watched it, it's a lovely video. Do go and watch it and download his album, Proverbs, because that's excellent as well. Mick and Downey play miserable people who ignore a homeless man.
All I'm saying is my acting's on point. That's all I'm saying.
I had to do a look.
It's a real stretch for me as well, if I'm honest. I really like a character.
Yeah, Mick has been playing that character for his entire life, like the grumpy man. So he nailed it. So yeah, go and watch that. Gav Grundy's with us, as is Terry Fenby. Dave Lawton says, evening all, any chance the international break could be extended for another week or two. CJ says, let's hope it's Norwich all over again. Kim is with us as well, and Dave Bateman's listening from Turkey. Really warm Turkey. Mick, international breaks, they have not been our friend over the past couple of seasons, it feels like. I haven't done the research to go back to last season, but it never felt good after he came back from the international break. No. And with the sort of air of positivity from the Southampton game, it came at a bad time. Although it maybe looked at a good time before the Southampton game, it came at a bad time because we really wanted that another game to maybe ride a little bit of a wave, and it's a shame that it came, really.
Well, it is, but it's not a lot we can do about it, is it? We've got to face up to it and move on. And hopefully, they'll be able to maintain the momentum from that second half of the last game prior to the break. Fingers crossed. We're at home, and that's key. That's key. So, and we'll talk about the opposition in a bit, but flying high, which is the teams that we tend to do well against.
Yes, it is. Mike the Miller says, what chance the game does not go ahead because of a waterlogged pitch? Heavy rain non-stop from 3 a.m. all day until around midnight. So there's a couple of points on that. First of all, I would say that the groundsman tweeted today a picture of the grass looking absolutely beautiful. I think if there was any worry, I don't think he would have put a tweet out. And also, they did something to the pitch in the summer. Somebody may have better ideas than me, but after the Cardiff game, they did something to the pitch. They put synthetic stuff in there, is what am I right in saying?
It's like a weird interwoven 3G with actual grass thing. It's meant to help with drainage, I think, but you never know. It might rain overnight and might get called off. You never know. Yeah. But that's how they we play with Cardiff at home later in the season, though.
Yeah, I think we're going to be shortly in the middle of an amber warning for rain. So if it is going to get called off, this is the type of game it will get called off. But there's no suggestion that there's a worry with our pitch. Only last season that was a problem with the Cardiff. We've never had a massive problem with rain in the past, from memory.
The issue with the Cardiff game was the volume of water in such a very short space of time.
Yeah.
When it's prolonged over a long period of time, as long as the volume's not the same for that length of time, which it won't be. Otherwise, I'll be the only one left surviving here because I live on top of the hill. You lot.
Although, if there was ever a time to actually buy the canoes from Aldi, now is the time.
Yeah. Sam Darby says the sprinklers coming on at half time. I think they're going to put them on in about 20 minutes and just have them on until 8 o'clock tomorrow. Shelley says, let's hope the Ipswich fans say they caught off early. It's on Sky, so they will leave it as late as possible to decide whether it's on or off. We're going to assume the game's going to be on. We obviously don't know because we can't tell into the future. But I am positive that the game will be on. But we'll see. Famous last words and all that. Danny, again, just feeding on for the mixture mentioned about the Southampton game and thought coming into it. How do you feel? We'll talk about potential injuries and rumours of injuries in a minute. But how are you feeling just in general? We should have a couple of players back.
Yeah, we're meant to be having, is it Morrison and Lindsay?
Doffin.
Doffin, yeah, sorry. I mean, Lindsay's just back on the grass now, into the same with Ferguson. But yeah, Morrison and Doffin back. Be interested to see if they do start, if I'm being honest. But I think the one who might start the two of them is probably Morrison, because we haven't really got two centre-backs to rub together at the minute, have we? But yeah, it's good that players are just starting to come back. Doffin might feel like a new signing. It feels like he's been out that long, but it's actually like 5 games, I think. Something like that. Yeah, it feels like he's been out a lot longer than he has, to be fair. But no, it's good to have players back. It gives us a bit more depth as well. I just hope they've got their armbands ready.
Let's wrap up some rumours. Shelley says, heard both Hall and Green are out. Any truth is so Grant Hall is out for tomorrow and is out for Wednesday. Could be back for the Sheffield Wednesday game. From what I read, what Matt Tiller said, that may not be the case. I think Danny put on the group chat that he's referenced as a fatigue injury.
Yeah,
this season.
It's like a fatigue injury in his hip, and the way I read that, it's like he's not 70. You know what I mean? It should, but it's like if it's a fatigue injury in his hip and they don't know how to solve it, it's something that's like not a freak injury, but it's something that's like unexpected.
You know, like
yeah, but you sort of expect like hamstrings and quads and you know and calves and that sort of thing in football, so you know how to treat them. But if it's a fatigue in his hip, then it's a bit interesting. Well, investigate that. The one thing I haven't seen anything about is Andre Green. I do not know where this injury rumours come from at all. I've seen a lot of people saying he's out for the season. It's like, what's the source on that? Is it HP or Mayo? Like, where's that one come from?
Yeah, the Green one has come from nowhere, and the rumours came out before Matt Taylor's interview, Matt Taylor's pre-match press conference. Matt Taylor didn't mention it, wasn't referenced at all. Having said that, everything the club have tweeted and put on social media, Andre Green's not been in anything as far as I've seen. So we don't know. The answer is we don't know. I feel if it would have been serious, Matt Taylor would have mentioned something. He's not one that's shy at telling people about injuries and things such as that. So we will play the waiting game on Andre Green. It'd be a bigger blow for him than it would be for us, sadly. Otherwise, but we'll see. Make Grant Hall out for at least 2 more games. I don't know what to say with Grant Hall anymore. I felt like we were over a bit of a hill when he played the Southampton game, because he made a mistake for the goal, but he was pretty solid. He looked pretty comfortable. He didn't look out. He looked okay. And then he's had a break and then got injured. It's really difficult to see that light at the end of the tunnel with him at the minute.
Yeah, I don't want to be smug, but I will. Because he didn't play the whole Southampton game, did he? And I questioned why he'd been taken off.
Yeah,
it was a strange substitution, and I think probably we're seeing the result of that now. It was just a weird substitution. You wouldn't take off a centre half and not replace him with another centre half when you've only got one on the pitch. Well, half of one on the pitch really with Peltz. To be fair to him, and that's no criticism of him. It's it's his second position. It's not his primary role. So. I suspect this injury may have been nagging for a while, but yeah, it's disappointing. But what can you do? It's week after week after week. I'm sure if Morrison comes back on Friday night against Ipswich, he'll be out by Sunday for another 6 months, and we'll be back round on that merry-go-round. But it is bad news. But there is some good news in terms of Tyler Blackett.
Yes.
It would appear that injury is not as bad as first thought, and I think the timescale I've seen coming out of the club is possibly 4 to 5 weeks. Which, if that's the case with another international break coming up, that's amazing. That's the right result for us. And of course, don't forget Hakeem Odoffin can play in that position as well. So we're starting, even though Grant Hall's got this injury, which sounds to me more of a nagging injury rather than a season ending or a significant period of time out type injury. So we'll have to wait and see. But it's what it is, isn't it? We can only buy what we can afford, and that's the market we're shopping in.
Yeah, it's just frustrating. We got a couple of players back, haven't we? We're thinking Morrison's back, Godoffin's back, and then possibly Andre Green's out, possibly Grant Halls. We're getting as many players injured as we are getting them back. It's just, I can only imagine how frustrating it is for Matt Taylor. I think somebody's put in the comments, do you think it's been mentioned about training methods? I would be surprised because, again, Danny, Matt Taylor seems like a meticulous kind of character who leaves no stone unturned. I think he's very sure of himself, but I don't think he's the kind of guy who's arrogant enough to sort of say, well, these are my training methods. If you get injured, you get injured. At this level of football, he will be flexible. I'd be amazed if it's a slight on his or his coach's training methods. It's just life.
Yeah, I mean, we're not the only club to have a lot of first teamers out at the minute. I saw one tweet earlier saying that Doncaster have got like 15 first teamers out.
Wow.
Sort of something silly like that. So I don't know, it must be something in Yorkshire water, if I'm being honest. That's why everyone's getting injured. But it plays into the whole swings and roundabouts thing of football. We've made the decision to sign, I wouldn't say injury-prone players, but like the older players with injury history. And even doing that is a gamble. Matt Taylor's took the gamble, and as it stands with Grant Hall, at least, it's not really paid off. He's certainly not paid off for Sean Morrison yet, because he's played about 4 games total for us. And it looking like Grant Hall as well. But like you say, it almost seems like we're getting as many back as going back out again. But that's the risk that we run. Matt Taylor wants to stay in the division. He thinks it's the experience that we need in this division, which we've got. But we forget as well that they are an impact in the dressing room as well. I thought Sean Morrison was key last season because he was in the dressing room, even though he was injured. Same with Grant Hall. Grant Hall will still be an impact off the pitch. But it's just a bit of a gut wrencher that it's like, oh, another one's gone. And why do they all have to be centre backs? Why can't we have a centre forward injury just for once? But what's that, sorry?
Don't tempt fate.
I'll say everyone touch wood quickly with that one.
Chris Taylor says, what are the odds on Morrison being out before Christmas? He says evens. Yeah.
That's very generous.
John Morrell says even Danny's internet's in a better state than some of your players.
Oh, bloody hell, that is a turn.
Touch the wood again, Danny. Touch the wood. Mick, let's do this now. We've put together our predicted starting 11s with the fan predictor thing. Oh, I've not uploaded it. I got these people to send me pictures of the prediction lineups, and then I forgot to upload it. I'm really sorry.
Clown.
I've got the template ready somewhere else. It's not on this bit of thing we've got anyway. We've all gone for essentially the same similar starting line. Well, me and Mick have gone for exactly the same, which is Victor in goal, obviously. No, they're not actually. You've gone Dexter, Peltier. You've gone a Doffin as a centre half, and Colin Bramwell left back. Danny, you've gone the same as me in terms of Morrison and Peltier. Danny, you put Revan at right back.
That's my second half match.
Apologies, stupid me. Yeah, you put Levick. Yeah, so me and you are on the same back 4. Mick, talk to me about the Doffin centre half starting.
Yeah, I think I suspect that Morrison's probably not going to be up to speed yet, and he's not. Speed's perhaps not the right word as far as Sean Morrison's concerned, is it? Up to full fitness, whereas Doffin's been out for a short period of time. He's comfortable in that position anyway. We know he is, albeit he's not a natural centre back. He's very comfortable there, and he's got a bit of pace. He's got a lot of pace actually, and he can win a ball in the air. So, for me, I think he probably would start over Morrison just on the basis that Morrison's had no match time whatsoever this season. and to throw him straight in against a team that are flying high at the moment, I think, yeah, I'm not sure. Whereas Adopin, like I say, he's played some games this season and done extremely well wherever he's played, whatever position you put him in, and he can do a job there. He can absolutely. So, but the key to it ultimately is that he's got a bit more pace.
Yeah, is that true? He played centre half in most of the pre-seasons last season when Paul Warne was still here. Danny, the next bit to look at is your midfield, and I think this will surprise most people. What you want to see as a start is basically the three midfielders you picked are Tiahi, Rathbone, and who else is your third midfielder? You aren't got third midfielder.
Shall I get it up so that I can actually agree with you? Because I sent you two. I sent me my first idea and then the end of the game.
I'll come back to the first one now, but there's no. Right. The headline is that Danny's choosing not to play Cafu from the start. I think that's the headline I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
Just let everybody thoughts on not starting Cafu.
Yeah, because I want to see the two up top because I thought two up top worked better against Southampton. So my midfield is Taihi sitting slightly deeper with Rathbone in front of him, and then Onyedinma and Appiah as the wider players.
Okay, and then you've got a two up top with what we think is Andre Green you've put.
Yeah, so basically if Andre Green's fit, you start him. If not, then I've done it on the basis that Green's fit because I've not seen anything else confirming that he is injured, basically.
Mick, you have put Cafu in and you've just gone the standard front three, but with Appiah in. We had a question, would you start Appiah? We've all three of us gone for the predictions, Mick, to start Appiah. I'll come back to the Cafu question in a minute, but would you start? He played 45 minutes in the reserves in midweek, so he's got minutes under his belt, a good 45 minutes. That's really good. Is there any reason not, even if Andre Green's fit, I would still start Appiah?
Yeah, 100%, because he's looked so dangerous when he's come on. More and more as each time each appearance, he's looked more and more dangerous. And he caused Southampton quite a few problems when he came on. He also caused Cardiff quite a few problems when he came on down there as well, but he wasn't on for very long. He scored a goal against Southampton, albeit it was flagged offside. He hit the bar against Cardiff. He's willing to have a pop as well and create something out of nothing. He's got the pace and he loves to run at players. For me, I would probably be starting him now. I think, like you pointed out there, he's had the minutes. Let's get him on there and let him cause some problems.
Mick, Danny's not going to play Cafu. RFC 90 says Cafu playing equals Rathbone plays better. Shelley says Cafu on the bench. What are you on, Danny? Mick, if you're going to drop one of them, for me it's Cafu. I would have Rathbone playing over Cafu. If I had to choose one or the other, I would choose Rathbone. I would play Cafu as well, but what are your thoughts on if you had to pick one?
I wouldn't have to pick one because there's no need to. For me, it's a pointless hypothetical question because for me they both play. It's where you play them and how you utilise them in within that midfield. And we pointed out the last couple of games that Cafu's played further forward than Ollie Rathbone has. I don't agree with that. I don't like that, and I don't think it works. I think if you swap them around and have Cafu more holding and Rathbone playing in behind that front three, I think it's far more effective. But we'll have to wait and see. But for me, it's not a choice of either or under any circumstances, assuming that they're both fit. Because they're both key. They're both key to the game. They've both got very similar qualities, but they've also got individual qualities as well, in terms of, Cafu with his set piece delivery, with his free kick delivery, Ollie Rathbone with some of the vision of some of the passes that he's able to pick out now, which he's far better equipped to do playing that further forward role for me than Cafu is, or than Cafu has shown so far. Let's say I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying in the games that we've seen. So it's not going to be an either or for me in that department at all.
Danny, how tempted would you be to mention maybe a Doffin at centre back? But how tempted would you be if a Doffin can start? Is to start a Doffin in maybe into the Cafu, or maybe as a Doffin, maybe that was almost that second striker, because he's been so effective this season when he's played.
Yeah, from what we've seen of Odoffin, especially under Matt Taylor and bits and pieces this season, he likes to play him in behind the strikers. That position that sort of lurks on the edge of the 18-yard box, which, to be fair, is where Odoffin scores from half the time. But Odoffin almost seems like the new utility player. He can almost play anywhere from a cam to a CDM to even a centre-back if called upon, anywhere in that middle section. But I think Matt Taylor will stick to Odoffin being in behind the strikers, to be fair, because he seems to have moulded Odoffin into that sort of player during his tenure. And like I said before, the last time we saw Odoffin at centre-back was in Paul Warne's era. And I think Odoffin's improved as a player since Paul Warne left, if I'm being honest, and it's from where Taylor plays him. I think he almost has a bit more freedom to do what he wants to do. So that's why for my second half lineup, which is factoring in like substitutes, I've got Odoffin in behind you two up top.
Fair enough. QPL IFC 19, mate, let's go to this one. Does Nombe deserve another start? He did start against Southampton, remember? Sadly forgetful the way he played. Does he deserve a start? We'll talk about Hugo in a minute, probably, but does Nombe deserve a second start in a row, Mick?
I think Matt Taylor's easing him into this Championship football, easing him into Championship football. At the moment, no, I don't think he does. I don't think he showed enough. I don't think he showed enough at all yet in any of his appearances. But I think he will. I'm convinced that he will. But I think he needs to he just needs to ease him in. I think he's doing the right thing with him, and I think he will come good. But I don't think I wouldn't start him tomorrow. No, I definitely wouldn't. I've got Jordan Hugo in there. I know it's been mentioned in the comments about using Hugo as a sort of super sub. I've got him in there tomorrow because I think we just need that little bit of aggression up there. But on the flip side of it, I do like the two up front, and I do like the problems that it caused. So maybe that's something to switch to later on in the game. But for me, the answer is no. I'd have him on the bench, and I'd probably be bringing him on as first change, perhaps. But no.
I think the thing is, Danny, I mean, if we were to play two up top, and let's assume Andre Graham is not injured, whenever Nombe is played in a two, he's got in Hugo's way quite a lot of time. His so far hasn't really suited that two. When Georgie plays in a two, I don't think Georgie can play on his own, but when Georgie plays in that two, he's such a nuisance. Yeah. He seems to understand Hugo's game a lot better. So I would be concerned seeing Nombe start as a two, because he just hasn't. He's played better on his own. He hasn't played well on his own, but he's better on his own than a two. I feel like he gets so much in the way when he plays with Hugo. Yeah,
I think so. I think if Hugo seems more comfortable with somebody next to him, like someone to run off his shoulder, or someone to draw in the defenders. Like Ronnie Moore said it before on Radio Sheffield. We've been saying it for a bit, but with Nombe, it seems like, even with the two wider players dropping back into midfield, like Onyedinma and potentially Green, it sometimes leaves Nombe a bit isolated as well. He almost seems like to have the 4-4-1-1. I think could suit Nombe a little bit better, whereas Hugo definitely suits the two up top idea. Which is why if Green isn't fit, I would be tempted to start Georgie. Just because it's almost like the difference of opinion in a striker with Hugo and Kelly. Like, they both had the same game where they like to press the ball and they're not scared of effectively running into people to try and get the ball. But Hugo is almost the calmer head, if that makes sense, like the more experienced head. Whereas Georgie just goes here, there, and everywhere and gets something on everything. So it's like a mix of orthodox and unorthodox. But I think if Nombe was to line up next to Hugo, like you say, they're getting each other's way too much, which is why I hope Andre Green's fit. But if not, I'd hand the start to Kelly. But for later in the second half, as we saw at Southampton and how well it worked, Kelly must come on later in the game if Green's fit. and cause that nuisance like he did against Southampton.
Yeah, he did. IUCK is saying that Nombe needs to start at home for me. Managers don't seem to like doing that. Even with new signs and young players, you tend to see them give them more minutes away from home. I don't know if they feel like it's less pressure or what, but it's proven to be the case so far. Nombe's had many more minutes away from home than at home. We'll see what happens. I'm sure he'll get a start at home soon enough. Sam Darby says, do you have any thoughts about using Hugo as a super sub like you mentioned, Mick? I think with Hugo, Matt Taylor's mentioned it. You need to find ways to motivate him at times. When he played West Brom last season, QPR, he didn't need any motivating. And I don't think tomorrow against Norwich's great rivals, Ipswich, I don't think he'll need any motivating. Because we had such fond memories of his time at Norwich that he will be up for this game. There's no question about it. I can't see a reason why not to start Hugo tomorrow.
No, I can't. I mean, I've not even thought about. I've not even sort of considered his allegiance to Norwich City, and so yeah, that's another reason. We talked about it on the last podcast about the feeling that Jordan Hugill needs something to sort of motivate him, and yeah, I mean that's hopefully that's the one for tomorrow to get one over on there on his old club's local rivals. That'd be great.
That's a shout, actually.
Yes, it would. Right, let's move back to Victor, and we purposely left Victor out, to be honest with you. There's 2 or 3 things we need to mention about Victor. Let's start with the most important thing first. Michael Miller says, hope the game is on, reference to the rain, so we can show Victor how much he is loved after the events in Brussels. Yeah, obviously, if you've lived under a rock and haven't seen this, obviously there was horrible terrorist attack in Brussels on Tuesday, where 2 Swedish fans and a third was injured, 2 killed, a third was injured, and the game got abandoned at half-time. Obviously, Victor was part of the squad, didn't play, but was part of the squad, and Matt Taylor talks about it where they got rushed home. They went home without their belongings, without a passport or anything at half-time from the game abandoned at 1-1. I can only imagine the mental stress and toll it with Victor and his family that they sort of caught up in the situation. The most important thing, the thoughts with the Swedish people that were affected by it. First of all, the victims and their family. Horrific. There's the saying that goes that you should never go to a football game and not come home. That's obviously one that we all is true. And yeah, it's an awful thing that we've got to mention and talk about. But we want to mention because we want to support Victor, we want to support him in his country as well, which we'll talk about the positive side of that in a minute. But yeah, I can only imagine what he went through, what his family went through, and everything else. Boys, what else to mention on the terrible events?
Yeah, I mean it's horrific, isn't it? It's absolutely horrific. I'm amazed that the game actually started. To be honest with you, I was really surprised given the timing of everything that happened. I think UEFA there scored a bit of an own goal with that. It should never have gone ahead. But anyway, hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? I'm sure Victor will be fine. I'm sure he will be. But at the time, he and his teammates and the families who were with him as well. I know his girlfriend was there in the stadium, and obviously, the players are going to be away from apart from their families. The stadium goes into lockdown. This is happening outside to all intents and purposes. It must be terrifying. So just really, really happy that the people that we know are safe, and really sad for the families of the victims of it. It's horrific. It's absolutely horrific.
Yeah, I'm just going to echo what Mick said. I think with hindsight involved, UEFA made the wrong decision to kick the game off, but they almost got a track record of trying to keep those games on. I mean, what happened with Christian Eriksen back at the Euros? UEFA wanted the game to carry on, and the Swedish players had the chat with the Belgian players, and they went, "No, we're stopping this." And I think that was the correct decision. And my heart goes out to the families affected by the 2 Swedes who lost their lives with that. But I think I speak for every Rotherham fan when I say we've got no qualms if Dylan Phillips did start, because we understand the reasoning behind it. But it'd also show a great strength from Victor if he came out and started as well. And like the comment said, if Victor does start, then he needs every single fan to back him as well.
Yeah, I agree. Get your Swedish flags if you've got them. Show your support for Victor and Sweden.
I might wear my Sweden shirt.
My lucky Sweden shirt might make an appearance tomorrow. As well. Cheryl says, weren't they kept in the same till like 4 a.m.? I don't know, but I know they were kept in for a significant period of time. But yeah, let's move on. Let's pivot to a real positive, Mick. A real positive. Our man Victor made his international debut, second half against Moldova. We just talked in a minute about the sort of negative side of what happened over the international break, but this is such a highlight of his career. It will look back on your debut as an international debut. We all have dreamt as kids to be able to play for your country, and now he's been able to do that. I can only imagine the pride that he had in himself, and again, his family had for him.
Yeah, it's I don't know what else to say. Other than he got what he deserved. He's worked so hard to get to where he is now, and that's just the ice. Well, it's the icing on the cake for him, isn't it? He's represented his country, and he will. There's no doubt about it. Represent his country again. Particularly given the age of the other two keepers as well, and in comparison to Victor's. So, fantastic experience for him. Absolutely fantastic, and he never put a foot wrong, really. To be fair,
did he touch ball?
He did. I was a bit worried when he got clattered at one point and landed a bit awkwardly. I thought, oh God, don't tell me he's going to come back. Having played 45 minutes or less than 45 minutes, and injured his shoulder. But yeah, I mean, so pleased for him and pleased for Tobias as well. I can only imagine how Tobias feels.
Yeah, absolutely. One of those games, but we watched it, Danny, and I was disappointed it were only Moldova because I really want Victor to be busy. I want him to pull off a few stunning saves and just show the world what he can do. But he had a couple of kicks to take. He didn't have anything to do. Maybe that's the best way for a debut to be, especially for a keeper. It takes a bit of pressure. Now he's done that. Next game, he's been there, done that.
Yeah, well, I mean, technically Victor kept a clean sheet in his half at game, didn't he? The other keeper didn't. Bless him. But yeah, like I say, it's a great honour to play for your country. It's about damn time, if I'm being honest. Right. But yeah, Victor's now made his debut. He's got the stress of it out of the way, shall we say, in performing well. And hopefully the Sweden coach sees Victor's potential and he gets more starts as well, because compared to the other two keepers, no disrespect intended, but from my Rotherham United point of view, is the better of the three. And it's like Ibrahimovic in goal. It could be Sweden's next big thing in goal. And I think now, I know it sounds silly saying this about Victor, but he needs the minutes. He needs the international minutes now, and he will be a real quality keeper for Sweden.
Yes, he will. It's unlikely they'll qualify for the Euros, which means their coach will change probably. I think it's been confirmed if they don't qualify, he will change, which may be good news for Victor. Fresh start, fresh manager, fresh start for the next, what will then be the World Cup qualifying campaign. Although we all would love to see Victor at Euros, wouldn't we? Wouldn't that be amazing to see a Rotherham player at Euros?
Does this make Victor the first capped Sweden player in Rotherham's history?
Well, we did have a Swedish guy with Ekstrand that Warren signed. I don't know if he went on to play for Sweden, but he had played for Sweden, but he played one or two games for us.
But did he play for Sweden whilst he was at Rotherham?
Unlikely, because he was injured, I think.
Oh, fair enough.
Another central defender that got injured. It's a Rotherham thing. I think he's the most run. And if he plays the Euros, he'll be the first player to play at the Euros while currently playing for Rotherham as well, if that happens. A few bit way down the line. Cherry Fimmer says, another one to add to the list of international players in Rotherham colours. Yes, it absolutely is.
Another John one of players who have come to Rotherham and then gone on to be internationals as well.
Absolutely. And he will go on to bigger, better. John S says McGuckin goal as well. McGuckin got 2 goals, I think. 2 goals in 2 games, I think. I think he got for Northern under 21s. He needs to go play. If I'm a National League team, I can't believe that nobody's picked him up on loan, to be honest with you, because they can pick these up on loan. I hope he gets the minutes and goes plays, because he is going to go from strength to strength to strength. McGuckin, he's desperate for minutes. Matt the Miller says, aren't Sweden out of the Euros? They can't qualify through their group, but the Euro qualifiers are really, really complicated because there is a playoff system that then goes back to the Nations League. So I think there is a really complicated way that Sweden could qualify, I think, but I don't really understand. So I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't think they're technically out yet, but we'll see. Danny, Ipswich coming up tomorrow night. How are you feeling about Ipswich? Because they are second in the league. I looked at their form, and there are a lot of wins in this season. I think they've won 11 games out of all competitions. I think they highly rated. Kieran McKenna is one of the most highly rated managers outside the Premier League. How are you feeling? Are you worried that we come against a very good team?
I'm worried we're coming up against an informed team. I think Ipswich are one of the teams where they've carried on their form from last season into this season and, hit the ground running. After everyone was sort of picked off the ground in pre-season, they've hit it running again, and that's why they've done really well. It'll certainly be a challenge against Ipswich because, they've got the confidence and we've only had a little trickle of that since the Southampton game. But it almost has the formula for a classic under the lights at New York Stadium, the informed team, the team that was just finding the feet now, really. And them doing battle. I mean, we've not lost to Ipswich at home in how many games? I think it's 5 home games we've not lost to Ipswich, and every single time we've beat them 1-0.
Yeah.
And we've got the added aspect that Ipswich battered us in the FA Cup last season whilst at Portman Road. So that could fuel the fire a little bit as well. I wouldn't say it's good news, but it's a relief that Ladipo's injured. So that's that one aspect of a former player getting a goal against us. But then you've got George Ayres to contend with. So I'd say stick Sean Morrison on man marking him. Keep him occupied. But no, for me, like I say, it has all of the aspects of being a classic under the New York lights. And I know where we went wrong with the last game on Sky. I forgot to record it. So I'm going to make sure I record this one, and then I think we'll win.
Yeah, I'm probably right. What makes this Ipswich team sort of almost as quite impressive, Mick, even more impressive, is that they've not really signed anybody this summer. This is basically the same team that finished second in League One last year, and they've just gone from strength to strength. I think that's probably a sign of a good coach. We're 11 games in. This may not continue, but it feels like the guys got them rolling. The players know the jobs. This must be great for Ipswich fans. I can only imagine the excitement they've got at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they outspent everybody in League One, didn't they?
They did last year.
Get into that position. So the cynic in me would argue that they bought their promotion last season because they don't get. I don't think there's any financial fair play issues in League 1 and 2, is there?
It's not as much.
So they're on a high, and they've managed to come into this season with a settled side, which virtually no other team is able to do. There's always chopping and changing throughout those summer months, and it can take time for teams to get to sort of, like you say, hit the ground running. So, yeah, I mean, they've done well. I'm a bit sort of given the circumstances of how they've spent. I find it sticks in the throat a little bit. Putting clubs of our size and others within League One at a financial disadvantage. I don't know if it's jealousy or what it is. But yeah, I'm pleased for him. Great.
You don't sound it.
I'm not really. I'm trying to make it sound like I am. I don't care. I genuinely, I'm completely, utterly. I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. Ultimately, they ain't no Leicester City, are they?
No.
I would argue, and I don't really know, but they don't seem to have the quality of footballer that Norwich have got. Norwich haven't been particularly firing this season, and if that's the case, whether they'll be there at the end or not is up for debate. But they're on a good run. They've done really well. It's got to end sometime. Might as well be tomorrow.
Yeah, it may as well. I've just done a weather update. It appears to be a yellow warning for rain now tomorrow. That's been downgraded. What do they know? Chris says they paid £1 million for Hurst. Yes, they did. He was on loan initially. They paid it so they paid that to keep him. But if anybody's going to score tomorrow, it will be old George, won't it? Bless him. Yeah. Terry Fember says, not my fault for the poor start, not using my Mr. Rotherham mug. Brought it out for Saturday before the Southampton game. There you go. Make sure you drink from that before you go to the game, Terry. A few people asking if we can call players back on loan and things like that. And if we can bring in emergency loans, no, you can't do anything. When the window's closed, it's closed. The only thing you can do is purchase players that are not at another club or weren't at another club during the last international break. So we're stuck as we are. That's life. Get over it. Let's do some predictions. We've got a bit of a game to do in a minute, which we'll finish on in a moment. Let's do some predictions. Danny, talk to me about how Friday night's going to go, assuming it's on.
Well, we always assume it's on until we're told otherwise. Just hopefully we've got the squidgets out ready to go.
How many do you think they've bought for this season?
We need at least 2 per man, so we need at least another 3. So hopefully we've got 6. I wanted to see every groundsman dual wielding the squidgets to get the game on tomorrow. But we've had a comment from Lewis O'Connor, who I think is an Ipswich fan. Don't be underestimating us tractor boys. I actually agree. I think to underestimate Ipswich tomorrow is a grave error, if I'm being honest.
Was there any question that we would?
Yeah, exactly. There's only question that we would. But I have a sneaky suspicion we'll hold to history and it'll be 1-0 to Rotherham.
I like your thought. Don't share your optimism, but I like your thought.
It's a Friday night. I won't remember the game come Saturday anyway.
True. Mick?
What? Oh, right.
Prediction,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm with Lewis there with that. I don't think any of us are underestimating Ipswich and the start that they've had to the season, and crucially the way that they've been playing. What I would suggest is, from the bits and pieces that I've read and seen, it would be nice to think that Ipswich come here with the same attitude that Norwich and Leicester and other clubs have done, and underestimate us. Fingers crossed that that's what they do. Because if they're coming in expecting a big long ball physical side, then happy days, because you ain't going to get that. So I you know what my prediction is.
Obviously,
sooner or later it's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
Why not
2-0. I mean, I don't know. Mick's gone 2-0. Mick's convinced we're going to keep a clean sheet this season. Yeah. I'm going to go 2-1 to Ipswich. I think we'll push them very, very hard, but I think they'll probably do have a bit too much for us. But Friday night, under the lights with horrible weather, bit of a leveler, I think.
I'm looking forward to that new outside bar as well.
Yeah. Chris Taylor says 2-1 to us. Scott Kent says 3-1 to Ipswich. Terry Femer says 2-1, thinks we'll nick it. John S says 2-1. If you notice here, Mick, nobody thinks we'll keep a clean sheet.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Yeah. I've got faith in Victor.
We've just got to turn up. You know, if we turn up tomorrow and we get beat 3-1, 2-1, and we've turned up and had a go and give them a game, but they just turned out to be better than us, you just got to check it off and say, right, you know, we're being beaten by a better team. It's not second in league by accident. This is a very, very good team. But I want to see us. I don't want to see us repeat the Bristol City performance as an example. I want to see more from us than we saw against Bristol City and others.
I don't think you're going to get that, Matt, because I don't think Ipswich are going to come and spoil the game like Bristol City.
No, I agree.
You know, that's not their game. They're going to play with the arrogance of a team that's in second place in division, aren't they? And rightly so. That suits us.
Yeah.
You know, when teams come and play the football here, that suits us. When teams come and spoil the game like Pearson's team did, that's when it causes us a problem, and that is the reason why we struggle with the teams around us. You know, because you know Gareth Ainsworth is a perfect example of that. So we'll see, but 2-0, Victor clean sheet.
Okay, Gerald Stone says 2-1 to us. John S says we turned up against Southampton. I was proud, but we come to play and I'd play as we can. Yeah, Terry Fimmer says all the faith in Victor. It's the back line in question.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
fair. Right, well, we're going to finish on a bit of a game because why not? It's fun. Now, this is where we all go, haha, Mick don't remember anything. This is one of those kind of games.
Oh, brilliant. This is basically a take the mickey out of Mick game.
Yeah, but you've got a chance. It's sort of a quiz. So the game is, I'm going to give you a question, and there are 22 answers, and you'll take it in turns, and whoever gets one wrong eventually will lose the game. Do we understand?
Oh, I'm going to lose the game straight away then, maybe.
Unlikely. So this is based on George Hurst. George Hurst played for Rotherham United, played against 22 different teams in the Championship, didn't score against any of them. I just want to know the 22 teams he played against and failed to score against in that Championship season.
Oh, God.
It's
harder than it sounds, you know.
From the Championship, you get no lives. So if you get one wrong and the other guy gets it right, we have our winner. Mick, luckily for you, we're going to go alphabetical order.
Alphabetical for Jesus Christ.
So, Danny, there are 22 teams. He didn't play against one team, I can't remember what it is. So one of the 22 teams that we faced that season.
Oh, you're doing alphabetical order as in me to Mick? I thought you meant like teams, like in alphabetical order. Oh, thank God.
No. Also, I should includes cup games as well.
Right, okay. Well, I'm going to knock out one of the easy ones and say Preston.
Yes, Danny. Very good. Mick, you've only got 21 other teams to pick from.
Middlesbrough.
Yes, Mick. Danny?
Cardiff.
Yes. He didn't play the last game of the season, though. He was injured for that one.
Don't make me sweat any more than I am with this game.
Mick?
This is the COVID season, isn't it? Is it?
I'm not going to tell you.
QPR.
Yes. Very good. 2 each. Easy this. I told you it'd be easy. Danny?
Swansea.
You did play against Swansea. Mick?
Blackburn.
Yes, he did. Yes. There we go. That's 6 gone. 18 left to pick from, Danny.
Norwich.
Yes. Well, alphabetical order. I'm still struggling to find out where the teams are on my list, to be honest with you. Mick?
Bristol City.
Yes. This could go on forever. Well, not forever, but for a limited period of time. Danny?
Sheffield Wednesday.
He did play against Sheffield Wednesday. I think he played both times, actually. Might be wrong on that one. Mick?
Derby.
No.
Oh.
So, Danny, you've won.
Oh, I was going to say Hull for my final answer just to secure it, you know.
You got it wrong.
Good. Thank you.
You went first, so Mick had to match you. Penalty shootout kind of style.
Gotcha.
So, if your questions are how good we know, Mick got it wrong, and then Danny would have got his next try wrong as well. I'm not going to read through them because there's like 15 other teams that we didn't go through. But it was everybody played in that season, clearly except Derby, and I'd add Everton in there as well because Everton were in the FA Cup, and he played for that, played against them as well. So hopefully he doesn't score on Friday night. I think I'm done. Anything else? Oh, do you want to mention Ben, Mick? We mentioned in the last episode about Ben playing at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. He had a successful night. He scored a touchdown at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
He did indeed, yeah.
Like embarrassing Ben, if we can.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all for that. Yeah, he did. Scored a touchdown and they won 35-0 against a team that's been 5 times champion of New York State. So they played 2 games over the space of 4 days and beat 2 American oppositions and conceded, I think, 2 touchdowns over the whole of the over both games. So they were outstanding. And our co-pilot on this, or sometimes co-pilot, managed to get his name on the score sheet as well. So yeah, good evening. I really enjoyed the football. Really enjoyed it. So and it's a hell of a stadium, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I would want to go again when there's fans in it. Only 2,000 people there, I think, weren't there?
Yeah.
I imagine it's quite impressive when it's full of people.
Yeah.
We tried to get Ben on for tonight, but he's clearly on too big time, and he scored a touchdown at Spurs Stadium. We don't fancy a podcast anymore.
He'll be on BBC, won't he, or something like that? Next door.
Yeah. Anything else? Anything Rotherham related, Rotherham United related? I think we've covered everything as best we can. Bear in mind, there's not much to talk about, to be honest with you.
It might be after tomorrow. We'll see.
I'll be live after tomorrow.
Or we could be talking about the monsoon. We'll see.
I'd like there not to be a monsoon, but you never know. The manager merry-go-round is really kicking off in the Championship, isn't it? Millwall have sacked their manager. Birmingham have changed manager during the break. Wednesday have brought in their manager as well.
Just before we sign off, I hope John Morell's still here because I want to know his thoughts on Wayne Rooney as their new permanent manager.
It's odd, that, isn't it? It's when I say it's odd, I say it's really predictable that an American company have gone, English footballer. Wayne Rooney.
Wayne Rooney's Birmingham City, it will be known from henceforth.
And all I'm going to say is we're going to probably beat them as well because that's what we're like. As soon as there's like a tagline to a team, we somehow end up beating them.
Yeah, it's that typical thing. I watched Sky Sports News a lot this season. I've not seen a Birmingham press conference featured on Sky Sports News or even in any clips. And suddenly, because our Wayne's there, is a brief thing on Sky Sports News, which is, I suppose, that maybe what they tried to do with the owners. This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to build a bit of exposure for the club and whatnot.
But for me though, we manager like John Eunice, who has got them that high in the table through his quality as a coach. That's how you build your brand as a football club. You push up the table and get yourself noticed. You don't suddenly swap him for a well-known name in football. But I suppose it's all about social media clicks now, and everyone's going, Wayne Rooney's at Birmingham now. But
we'll look at Wrexham. As much as we don't, I like what's happening at Wrexham. That's what started all this. What they've done at Wrexham is causing these other guys to jump on board and do it in a different way. That's where it all come from.
Although, did you see the map they put out on Welcome to Wrexham? That's fantastic. I didn't know Brentford had a derby with Carlisle. That's great funny.
That was crazy. I like how we made the cut. There's only about 20 teams on there, but for some reason we made a cut. And they got us about right. We're one of the only teams that got it right place at country.
Yeah, it's like,
odd.
All I'm saying is they've got their eyes on Rotherham. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know.
Play them next year. We'll find out. Neil Liversidge says the Leeds match is moved to Sky. Yeah, predictably. Leeds United game has been moved to a Friday. I can't remember the exact date. I think it's after the international break. I think it's the first game after the international break again.
Don't know. I can't remember.
I think it is. But yeah, Leeds at home on a Friday night. That brings back some memories.
Go wrong?
Brings back some really, really good memories.
And we get direct trains from Leeds as well. Fantastic.
Yeah. We've got Johnson Clark Harris. And then remember Martin McIntosh, Mick, back in 2005 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy with that being on Friday night, to be honest with you. We'll see. We will be back. We'll try and do the instant reaction. And when I say we'll try and do the instant reaction, assuming the game's on and assuming we can find shelter, we will do the instant reaction post Ipswich. We may have to do it in a car or something like that. But we'll try and work something out.
Just do it back at stand. It'd be right.
Well, if the rain's as bad as it is, we'll need a canoe to try and do that, mate. We'll wait and see. We will then be back on Sunday evening, which will be hopefully a review of the Ipswich game and all the other Championship games. And then we'll go again. We're playing on Wednesday, this time against Coventry City, another home game. Championship's relentless. We know when it's not an international break, Championship's relentless.
Yeah.
We'll figure out how many more players have been injured, because I'm sure there will be a couple from tomorrow night. Mick, thank you very much for being with us tonight. It's been good fun to be back talking about Rotherham.
You're very welcome. I've missed it.
Have you? Who says that? Yeah. Danny, thank you very much, mate. Pleasure to speak to you again.
Always a pleasure, lads. Always a pleasure.
And thank you very much. Subscribe, like the video, and we will see you all next time. And up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
It's a Wales through a goal, slots it beyond Foderingham, and the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box for Doffin, he can hit them, and he does. The Doffin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their